Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pitch deck competition sponsored by the Pillsbury Institute for Hospitality Entrepreneurship here at the School of Hotel Administration. I'm Linda Canina, Professor of Finance and co-director of the Institute, along with Dave Sherwin. Dave Sherwin is also co-director, and would like to thank Andrew for directing the pitch deck competition this year. This is Andrew's 5th year doing it, and he's phenomenal. The students love him. Students from all over the university love Andrew. All we hear about around campus is the pitch deck competition in Quag. Andrew Quagliata, Quag. So thank you, Andrew, for doing this. We really, really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank all of our judges. We had a round of semifinalists where we had 6 judges: Fred Singer, Kenny Blatt, Jess Petit, Ashwin Kamlani, Chris Hemmeter, and Stacy Silver. So I would like to thank all of them for the first round. And of course, our judges for this round, Monica, Warren, Bob, thank you so much for being here, and we really appreciate it. So Andrew, the ball is in now your court. Take it from here. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate the introduction. As Linda said, this is our 5th annual hospitality pitch deck competition, and it's my honor to be the faculty chair for the event. At its core, we've come up with this competition to really give students an opportunity to develop an idea in the fall semester with hopefully that can be a feeder into the business plan competition that happens in the spring. This competition, though, is not a business plan competition. It's a pitch deck competition. We certainly value really good ideas, but the judges also evaluate the structure of the argument, the value of the visuals, and the delivery of the message. This year we had 25 teams register. 12 teams compete in the first round. And in the first round, the teams prepared a reading deck. This should stand alone. And they submitted it online, and we sent those reading decks out to those judges that Linda mentioned at the start that evaluated those remotely. And then 4 teams really came right to the top of the pile. And you're going to get to hear from those teams tonight. 4 teams will compete for 3 cash prizes. 3rd place will earn $500, 2nd place $1,500, and 1st place $3,000. And then we will announce the winners at the conclusion of tonight's event. The rules for the finals are pretty simple. Each team is limited to 11 slides. What happened is the teams have pre-recorded their videos, and so we're going to watch those pre-recorded videos of each team's pitch. And between each one, you're going to get to see that our judges here tonight are going to get to ask those teams questions live. So it'll be a live Q&A session after each pitch. I'd also like to thank our judges for volunteering their time and expertise. We've got a wonderful panel of experienced judges here tonight. We have Bob Alter, Monica DiGilio, and Warren Leeds. Thank you again so much. If we were in person, we'd give you a round of applause, and maybe we'll do some Zoom round of applause here. There you go. If you can see my screen. There we go. So let's get started with the first pitch by Team Executive Chef.
Hi, I'm James.
I'm Olivia.
And we're Executive Chef.
So we both have tried many meal kits, but have yet to find one that combines the high quality ingredients and the fine dining experience we have been missing. Not just us, but many other people have also been experiencing this. People are obsessed with fine dining and high quality experiences, but lack time and ability to shop, source high quality ingredients, and spend hours cooking. In addition, the current market for existing meal plans lack quality and creativity, take time to execute, and do not provide the 5-star experience people are looking for. Also, top chefs and their restaurants are facing excess capacity and financial hardship.
Executive Chef is a high-end meal delivery service that partners with executive chefs at upscale restaurants to create easy-to-cook meal kits inspired by signature dishes on their menu. We aim to combine high-quality ingredients and drink pairings to bring fine dining experiences directly to the consumer's kitchen and dining table.
Meal kits are a rapidly growing market, forecast to be $19.9 billion by 2027. In addition, meal kits already account for 1.3% of all global food and beverage sales. Our target customers are affluent with a disposable income and who value fine dining. Our customers, who value fine dining, an essential part, an increasingly important part of their lifestyle. Given the current environment, there are fewer places people can go out to eat, and those available are potentially unsafe, which myself and I'm sure many others have also experienced. We will offer unique in-home dining and entertainment experiences. Now let's take a look at our competition.
Executive Chef competes with both fine dining establishments and traditional meal kit companies, more broadly the entertainment dollar. Executive Chef aims to combine elements of each competitor together. Executive Chef has high quality ingredients, a quick prep time, 5-star meals, at-home dining, and a complete fine dining experience. Now, the meal kit market has a very wide price range, ranging from $10 and a competitor like Blue Apron to $70 to 11 Madison Park's offerings. Now, this wide range is really great because we can find an ideal price point and niche within the market and won't be competing directly with some of the existing meal kit providers.
We are not only creating a product, but we are building a brand. We want our customers to trust and grow with us. Our core offering is a high-quality meal kit, curated so that we provide a unique at-home fine dining experience. Every package will include high-quality fresh ingredients, complex sauces prepared by our chef partners, and expertly produced tutorial videos. We will enhance every meal kit by providing wine pairings, customized music stations for ambiance, and specialized table decor to complete the experience. Executive Chef will create an opportunity for a level of experience at home that is unrivaled, and to do so over and over again. This is not just a product, this is a brand.
Executive Chef will partner with well-known chefs to create high-quality, easy-to-cook meals. These chefs will receive % of the top and bottom line to incentivize them to make creative yet cost-conscious meals. The customers are ours, and the chef partners vary. We've identified that because of the COVID pandemic, restaurants have a lot of excess capacity and slack labor. Executive Chef will utilize that capacity and labor to prep ingredients and cook pre-made components. Executive Chef will then assemble, package, and deliver to ensure consistent quality and branding. We will purchase each meal at cost from the restaurant so that we benefit from the restaurant's existing supply relationships and volume discounts. It's important to note, however, that we will strategically source specialty ingredients independently so that we begin to develop our own supplier relationships. The Executive Chef will be based on a subscription model. The pricing isn't set yet due to the huge range in the market, but it is something we will try. We're also imagining lower frequency deliveries than our competitors, delivering between 1 and 4 times a month instead of 1 to 3 times each week, as most competitors do.
Our customer strategy will involve 3 steps: customer acquisition, customer retention, and maximizing the lifetime customer value. 17% of American consumers have tried a meal kit at least once in their life. We know from personal experience that people often get bored with the existing meal kits. What we are going to do is find consumers within our segment and keep them. How are we going to do this? First, we are going to grow by gaining trial from our target customers, including joint promotions with luxury providers, customizing mail lists, and through social media. Next, we are going to retain our customers by maintaining a high level of quality and continually offering a variety of chefs, themes, and experiences. We will stimulate retention through maintaining connections to our customers and by constantly evolving our offering. Finally, we will maximize the lifetime customer value by evolving the core product and extending the brand by adding cooking classes, special member events, online offerings, and by continuing our brand beyond the core meal kits.
Our next steps include more in-depth market research, including estimating the actual market size and price point through product testing and focus groups. We additionally want to develop a financial plan, including estimating our costs, our chef compensation, and create a financial forecast estimated profit and loss sheet.
Our vision is to execute on our asset-light meal experience by developing relationships with the restaurants and chefs, developing supplier relations, and by building long-term relationships with our customers. We will build our capabilities by developing direct relationships with high-quality sources and eventually adding our own kitchens and warehouses. We will also extend the brand by expanding offerings to include heat and eat options. We will also introduce new chefs and media tie-ins, and we will continue to leverage and expand the brand.
Olivia and I are both hotel school students. We have a deep love of fine dining and a passion for cooking, and have diverse experience in the culinary and hospitality industries.
Through Executive Chef, we want to create a long-term connection with our customers by providing an unrivaled dining experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Executive Chef. We're joined here with Olivia and James and our judges. We're going to open up the floor to our judges to ask Team Executive Chef some questions for 5 minutes. Go ahead, judges.
Hi, this is Warren. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So do you have any research that shows how big the meal kit market is versus people who are opting to have their food already prepared and delivered?
Well, I don't know the market size for people who have their food already delivered and prepared, but the meal kit market size accounts for 1.3% of all global food and beverage sales. And 17% of Americans have tried meal kits at least once in their life. And 83 or 84% of Americans who have purchased a meal kit are now on a meal subscription.
So Olivia, one of the, I guess the big player in this is Blue? Who's
Blue
the big
Apron?
Blueprint, right? They had a very high customer acquisition cost. How are you going to grow this out, and what did you project in terms of the acquisition cost per customer?
Well, we're not sure of the exact cost, but we are first going to grow our customer base by gaining trial from our target customers, which would include joint promotions with luxury providers, customized mailing lists, and through social media. And then we are going to retain our customers by maintaining our high level of quality and continually offering a variety of chefs, themes, menus, and experiences. And then we will simulate retention through maintaining connections to our customers and by constantly evolving our offering.
And so how are you going to get the chefs, these high-end Michelin chefs, to engage or be part of this?
Yes. So the chefs right now, a lot of them are facing financial hardship. It's something, capacity is very low and demand for in-person dining is very low across the industry right now. And so this is a way for them to gain additional revenue, and B, also put their name out there. They get marketing from it as well. The brand itself is a combination of Executive Chef and the chef themselves.
If you're familiar with Gold Belly, and I'm not sure if this is intended to be a bit of a hybrid of what Gold Belly is, do you know how Gold Belly entices? What's the value proposition that Gold Belly provides to chefs who participate in their offerings? Do you know?
So I'm a little unaware about what Gold Belly is. If you want to fill us in a little bit, I'm sure we can.
Okay, yeah. I assumed Gold Belly would be one of yours in your competitive set. They do prepared meal delivery as well as meal kit delivery. So I made an assumption, but it's something I would suggest maybe you take a look at.
Yeah.
Well, with Gold Belly and also many other fine dining restaurants are also starting to get in the meal kit and market. But we would be different because these restaurants can only offer their own food and their own experience. But we would partner with many different chefs that would enable us to consistently be providing different foods, cuisines, experiences. And we would also provide the expertise in marketing, food delivery, customer outreach, and customer retention, while most restaurants just know of and rely on the quality of their own food and experiences. And this is about bringing the amazing fine dining experience to the consumers' homes, and not just the food, it's the experience.
Can you just take us quickly through the unit economics of, how that all works?
And I'll just jump in and say that's our last question, so this will be your last opportunity to.
Yeah. So basically, we partner with the chef partners and their restaurants. They get part of the sales revenue and the bottom line as an incentive, and then using their labor force in their restaurant, they kind of prep the meals, and then we assemble the kit and deliver them. So the restaurant, then we're buying the meals from the restaurant at cost. So we can benefit from their supplier arrangements and their discounts, and then we will make money off of that. So we can, as opposed to a traditional restaurant, they are also paying for the labor involved in the service, which with our delivery is less so. And so we can have a little bit of a higher margin than you would otherwise.
That is all the time we have for Q&A. Thank you very much, Team Executive Chef. Next, we're going to hear from Team Life After Life.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jacob Tannenbaum, here with Jeremiah Swain. We are Life After Life. 2.7 million people die every year in America. With over 50% of people opting for burials, that means 1.3 million burials are performed every year. This equates to about 1,033 acres of land covered in cemeteries in any given year. The average funeral today costs between $7,000 and $12,000. 73,000 kilometers of hardwood boards are buried. 58,000 tons of steel are buried. 1.5 million tons of concrete are buried. 3.1 million liters of formaldehyde are buried annually, every year, just from funeral practices. Cremation itself has some unsustainable consequences as well, with 360,000 metric tons of CO2 produced annually. Anyone who's been to a cemetery recognizes them as huge, empty swaths of land that require high maintenance. Nobody likes cemeteries, but nobody seems to be asking, why are we doing them this way?
This opens the door for Life After Life to present the world with a really different opportunity to reimagine life after life. In doing surveys and interviewing close to 100 individuals, we broke it out by generation, and what we found is baby boomers and Gen Xers, all over 40, found that price and aesthetics were most important. And what Life After Life you'll find through this presentation offers is a lower price alternative and a highly, much more aesthetically attractive alternative to normal cemetery practices. And not to mention, one of the most surprising things we noticed is that 64% of these individuals surveyed are open to sustainable alternative burial options. Digging further into that solution, Life After Life looks to solve the problem of economically and environmentally unsustainable end-of-life practices through semi-urban natural burial cemeteries. And what we really target and want to hit on is the fact that it is a much more sustainable alternative. I mean, even if you look at the pictures we have available here, you see the differences in what this could look like, whether you're driving through a city or otherwise. Not to mention the priceless value that a loved one's lost will contribute to the healing of the planet, leaving things better than they came, which is what we all desire. Last but not least, it really hits on the number one thing we found across demographics, which is affordability. It offers a decreased cost to the customer. It eliminates the high maintenance costs, as Jacob mentioned earlier, particularly with maintaining these large swaths of land that are barely visited. You don't have to worry about the embalming pollutants being in the ground, nor do you have to worry about overpriced adornments. The way we tackle these different issues is by looking at where technology is honestly currently taking us. I'm sure you can imagine looking at our current social media and being able to review a loved one's life through that. So cloud memorials, which will help to immortalize the histories of the individuals and their memories, looking at plot selection and customizing the interfaces and being able to visualize what you're purchasing and how these using native horticulture will help to grow the land into the parks in which we understand will be assets to the cities in which they surround, and using GPS technology to be able to pinpoint where a loved one is buried, so that way you and generations after could always go there without the need for those headstones that a lot of people end up paying extra money for and never really see them. Our customer segment really dials in on something that's a little bit different than the history of the more Protestant Christian focused burial practices of America. And what we allow and open the door for is a much more diverse opportunity for people across age, demographics, religions, to have alternatives for traditional funeral practices. And our product really aims to incorporate these different cultures and religious practices in order to create a product that really reflects the shifting desires for living sustainably from the time you're born through the next life.
Life after life's competitive advantage hinges on its ability to collaborate with the movement as a whole when it comes to sustainable end-of-life products. Whether that be human composting, burial pods, mushroom burials, all of these things that are making the news right now, all of those are key collaborators in our system, as we're the dispossessor at the end of all the bit. Whatever form you choose, as long as it's environmentally friendly, is a great companion to the model that we're presenting. Our project really hinges on our strategic partnerships. We have a unique ability to get this project done because we offer something that is environmentalist and conservationist friendly, opening the door to unique funding sources and the ability to convince city and local governments that our product should be allowed. A typical cemetery is something that any city planner tries to avoid because they recognize it as a wasted space that isn't environmentally beneficial. We offer something that is essentially a free park. Who would turn down a free park coming to their city? Additionally, our partnerships include religious leaders. What we're trying to do is bridge the gap between different religious groups. We are offering a product that goes beyond the historic American demographic and looks at America as a whole and where it's going, and what people truly care about today, not what they cared about 100 years ago. Additionally, we recognize the need to partner with the people who are helping educate and figure out the options, and those largely are insurance companies and estate planners and the like, who give recommendations and can perform payment on different end-of-life decisions. Our business model is a multi-phase process. Similar to the McDonald's model that has become popular. On its surface, McDonald's seems like a food business, but in fact, they make most of their revenue from real estate. We look to capitalize on a similar land value-centric business model. Right now, step one begins with purchasing 46 acres of optimal land. Top locations being considered right now are Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Denver, Fort Collins, Loveland, Boulder, and San Antonio, Austin, San Marcos. This hinges around the idea of finding a cultural fit while also finding a place that has large metropolitan bodies that are growing towards each other, as we have a long-term horizon and are planning for the future of the city's growth. Step two, develop a master plan for a cemetery park in the central 23 acres. Step three, debt financing of $10 million with a 10-year term. Step four, we construct a central event space and the related facilities to host our business. Step five, we begin to sell and construct the cemetery as a park as the grave sites are filled. Additionally, we are able to create revenue from the different products and services we're able to sell along with our core business. Step six, we franchise out or sell off the 23-acre piece of the business to fund multiple other sites. Once the 23 acres of park have been fully developed, the surrounding 23 acres that we hold are prime locations for real estate development, as the cities will have grown towards each other, but more importantly, we've created a central park space for which to create frontage for the community that we develop after. Our team comes from a strong and diverse background of planning, real estate, and startups. We are in touch with a diverse range of cultural and disciplinary needs. Our financial projections. We project a 21% IRR, $39 million in profit, and we project that the total time to fill up these cemeteries, given the locations, would be roughly 22 years. The returns in the cemetery business are strong and steady. It's a different business, though. And it's different because a sustainability business always has to look at a multi-phase, long-term strategy. But ours is very high in potential. These projections are very conservative also. We believe that there's a large amount of capital to be found in conservation and environmental preservation grants, credits, and low-interest loans that will be able to offset the amount of debt we need. But we wanted to show what it looks like in a typical levered situation. Moving forward, we are continuing to analyze our specific market locations and develop designs further. We are currently looking for strategic investor partners and investors and exploring a variety of unique financing options available to us. Our advisors have been invaluable in forming our ideas and understanding this complex business from multiple perspectives. Thank you for considering Life After Life. I hope you all can help us make a difference and a profit. Thank you.
That was Team Life After Life, and we're back, and our judges will now open up the floor to questions for Jeremiah and Jacob.
I'm curious as to what concerns you anticipate from clients, right? People who would be making this purchase about the fact that you intend to sell the real estate within a certain period of time to make the financial model work.
Well, I think those concerns can be broke out generationally. So when we think of the baby boomers or their people that are coming after, I think a lot of it is about the reuse, it not being abandoned. When you look at our sample size of all of our different competitors, I can click to that right quick. One thing they have in common, is that, I think it's a regular slide, is that they're placed in different areas that have kind of been abandoned around them. And I think because we're located with a park situation, being able to bring life and to continue our motto of having life around you, even at the end, I think it's something in a way in which we'll quell those concerns with generations that have that issue. But we also found that our younger generations, Gen X, millennials, they don't have that concern because they have a little bit closer understanding of what sustainability means, which is that people and things will continue to exist and grow and thrive around you.
In regards to the development itself too, the development doesn't come until the end of the cemeteries filling up. So there isn't going to be this contrast between the built space trying to navigate the emotional moment of the funeral space.
Can someone come and build a building on top of?
No, it's not on top. It's about the relationship of creating a natural space for people to enjoy from a juxtaposed position. So it'll be around it. The development will be around essentially a park that you've created through the goodwill that people have chosen to take as their end-of-life practices.
Thank you.
Guys, have you done any sampling with the concept of the park and people using a park where people have been buried? You think that's going to be something that people can get their hands around?
Absolutely. I mean, in Denver, Colorado, one of the most popular parks is well known for formerly being a cemetery. The superstition doesn't stop anyone. You see thousands of people out there every day. The difference is it's not full of tombstones. So dissociating that idea of a funeral and the tombstones, it's really the fact that you're creating a space that's not inhabitable, more so than it is about people not wanting to be in that space.
So when the property sells at the point in your business model when it's to sell, is it stipulated that the park has to remain a park?
The idea would be that it continues to run the business model that we've created. We just allow an entrepreneur to come in and take over a business locally so that we can continue to develop this concept to have a greater impact going forward. The sale is about creating the capital that we need to continue this project across the nation and whatever comes next. Because our core business model will be about starting these and not necessarily running them to the end.
We've got time for one more question.
Well, Bob, do you have a question? Otherwise, I have another one.
Go ahead, Warren. You take this one.
Jacob Jeremiah, so have you given any thought to, if I heard you before, the park would remain in its current state and the development would be contiguous to the park?
The idea is that you buy a larger piece of property than you're going to master plan for the purposes of the park, so that you can plan ahead that the maturing of the park and the master plan as a whole is in relation to the development. So you designate two different pieces, one for the purposes of the cemetery park, one for the development. How they relate to each other is all part of the design process, but you're not...
Okay. One last question. Who do you think would be, or what would the use be next to this park if you bought this larger parcel? Who do you see those potential uses being?
Well, I think it would be important to look at how the cities have expanded over time. We're looking at how the metropolises are coming together. So if we are still a semi-suburban area, then maybe it's better as a residential portion. But if the cities have really expanded, something that's more of a mixed use community might become more warranted. But that's the benefit of planning ahead. That's the benefit of having a master plan that evolves based on what comes next and playing things as they are. It's hard to predict what kind of density will exist around us 10 years out, but what we can know is that as these cities grow, there will be at least some demand for residential at the very least.
Wonderful. Thank you, Team Life After Life. That's all the time we have for our Q&A tonight. Next, we're going to hear from Team Ultraviolet Transactions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alexa.
And I'm Sam.
And we're Team Ultraviolet Transactions.
Our primary goal here today is going to be showing you how we've made payment disinfection easier.
I'd like to start off by telling you a quick story about myself. Ever since I was little, I remember getting so excited when I lost a tooth because that meant that I would get a visit from the tooth fairy and she would leave a dollar bill underneath my pillow. However, every time I think about that, I remember how ever since then my mother instilled in me how cash is dirty and that I have to wash my hands after I deal with money. Fast forward to 2020 and we find ourselves in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic with health and safety at the forefront of everything that we do. I'd like for you to take a second to think about all the germs that we come to contact with on a daily, whether it be exchanging money or a card at a restaurant. When was the last time that you dealt with a transaction and how did you pay? Was it with your smartphone maybe, cash, credit? Better yet, let's think about the last time that you sanitized a credit card or maybe your smartphone. Actually, I don't want to think about it because it's a little gross if I'm being honest, but actually let's talk about it. Do we really know how dirty our cash, our cards, and our smartphones really are? I mean, it's bad enough that we have to deal with our own personal cards. Now think about how our frontline employees feel when they deal with not only their personal cards, but hundreds and thousands of transactions on the day-to-day, per shift, per hour. Not only that, but they are bringing home the germs and viruses to their families after a long day at work. I think it's time that we really ask ourselves, what are businesses and restaurants doing for their employees? And what are they doing for us? I think it's time that we get to the heart of the problem. People aren't really thinking about the sanitation of payment devices, and I think it's time that we look a little closer into that.
So payment methods are dirty. That isn't a secret. Contact-related payment methods like cash and credit cards are extremely dirty and have the ability to spread viruses like COVID-19 because of the common surfaces touched, which can put both employees and customers at risk. US bowls can contain on average about 3,000 different types of bacteria, which is actually more than a household toilet. They can transfer live flu viruses for up to 17 days, including the coronavirus, which can actually survive for up to 28 days on cash. And if you thought that was unsanitary and unsafe, and that maybe credit cards are likely better because they exchange less hands, think again. Credit cards actually carry even more types of bacteria than cash and coins. They carry 3 times more bacteria and germs that cause poisoning than cash, which can lead to things like salmonella, staph infections, and E. coli. Again, this is putting both employees and customers at greater risk of contracting illnesses. So now we know why this matters to customers and employees, but why should this matter to restaurant owners? After all, these are our most direct customers. A sanitation device eases both the customers' and workers' perceptions, which is essential during this pandemic and will continue to have staying power as a greater emphasis is placed on the health and safety aspect of each and every industry. While there's an increasing amount of restaurants that are going cashless, there are certain locations like Manhattan that are requiring that restaurants accept cash. Why, you might ask? It might be easier for us to just use credit card or things like NFC readers that kind of just do it all at once. But over 8.6 million American households are unbanked, most of which are Black and Latino. This is concerning as it grows the racial divide in access to food and goods, and our solution makes it possible for cash transactions to take place without a concern for sanitation. By including this part of the population, it's providing an opportunity for increased sale margins, and by implementing a safety measure, restaurants are taking a tangible step to make sure that their employees are being kept safe. Employees are concerned about their working conditions enough as it is, and knowing that their employers are making an effort to protect them is not only great for the actual safety of their employees, but it increases employee morale and benefits company culture because they know that their employer cares about their safety and their health. The need for sanitary solutions is also backed by concepts like the sanitation section that Yelp recently added. It's conceptual proof that people care about how restaurants are managing their staff and transactions during this time, and that the need for sanitary actions are going to continue as COVID progresses and even after a vaccine is developed. So now Alexa will talk a little bit more about our solution.
Our solution is simple, and by this point, you might have kind of an idea of what it is, but we're here to tell you about how we can make payment disinfection fast and easy using a device that uses UVC light to disinfect. It works in 3 easy steps. Step 1, the customer will feed their payment through the disinfection device, and it works similar in a way to a vending machine that you will see how. Step 2, the high-powered UVC light will kill the viruses and the bacteria on your payment method, whether that is cash or credit. And step 3, the payment will come out on the other side clean and ready for the employee to handle. So if that was a card, the payment would be ready in about 1 second. They get to swipe it and hand it right back to you, knowing that it is fully sanitized. So the 3 great parts about our solution is that first, it's clean and contactless. Second, it's fast, taking at most 2 seconds. And finally, it's versatile. Again, it includes all payment types, whether that's cash, credit, coupons, and all of the above. So let's take a look at what our market opportunity looks like. With the billion of transactions that take place yearly in the US, we're going to begin by looking at the restaurant industry. In the past year alone, 58.6 billion transactions took place. 41 billion of those transactions were credit card transactions, and about 17.6 billion were cash. We decided to start off with the restaurant industry as there are over 1 million locations in the US in 2020. And given the sense of hypersensitivity centered around the food service industry, we saw a great opportunity to start here. So we will begin by particularly looking at the 239 billion quick service restaurant industry. The reason why we chose quick service was due to the low value, high volume transactions that take place in this segment. Additionally, a lot of the customers that make up the quick service industry are people that are a little bit more concerned with the coronavirus and don't feel so comfortable stepping in and dining it at a restaurant. So they're the people more likely to go through a drive-through or try to limit contact with the employees. And finally, we are looking to address the quick service restaurants that currently do not take other options such as Apple Pay and Google Pay, and that market is about $8 billion. So some of the restaurants that fall within this market are actually Wendy's, Hardee's, and Dairy Queen. Now I'd like to take you through the perception versus the reality of cleanliness from a customer standpoint. So at the moment, a couple of different businesses are using different options, including handling payment types with gloves and bins for contactless transfer. However, with things like gloves and bins, they have an actual low reality of cleanliness, if you think about it. We don't really know how often people are switching gloves or pumping hand sanitizer in between each transaction. Additionally, bins are probably dirtier given that everyone is placing their cards and cash in that same bin, so it really doesn't do that much. When we look at other options such as customer-operated credit card readers, sometimes they're a little unstable and we end up actually placing our hand on the reader itself to stabilize the machine as our card goes in. And although we recognize that Apple Pay and Google Pay and other NFC reader options are great, they don't directly address all the payment options. They don't even consider cash or coupons, which are a big part of the quick service industry, and they actually drive a lot of customers. So our solution, Ultraviolet Transactions, addresses all of these and more. Our value proposition focuses on three main segments: customers, employees, and businesses. First, they enhance the brand image. Next, they ease employee concerns, as Sam spoke about earlier, and they include all payment types, again, which can actually increase the restaurant's margins as they would spend less on credit card transactions. So overall, the business would just come off as more caring and focused on the overall safety and sanitation of both the customers, employees, and it will help promote greater business as we move forward. Sam will talk about our business model.
Thanks, Alexa. So regarding our business model, we're going to essentially break this down into two different sections of revenue. On one hand, we're going to have our flat fee of $399, and on our other hand, we'll have our servicing and warranty plans that we're going to operate on a monthly subscription model. This will help to ensure a steady stream of revenue, while the flat time one fee will cover the immediate cost of the unit production of $125. And now we'll look a little bit further into what our future milestones are going to look like. So within the next week or so, we're going to hope to have a 3D printed model of our product. And then as we continue to conduct user testing and pilots at local businesses and restaurants, we're going to collect customer feedback to drive the motivation for paying customers. We're then going to be conducting a third-party scientific testing to ensure that our product does in fact remove 99.9% of germs and bacteria. And then our last major step is going to be manufacturing and rolling out our product. So now, why us? Why are we the team to tackle this problem? Alexa and I have extensive experience working together in the startup environment after we launched a social enterprise project earlier this year. As a hotelier, Alexa's strongly experienced in the F&B industry with great intuition in front of house and back of house operations. As a communications major myself, I have focused in the area of environment, science, and public health, and I'm interested in bringing a tangible product to market, and figuring out how to best communicate the benefits of UV transactions is a top priority as public perception and safety are of utmost importance. We are greatly supported by co-founder Tom Myers, Adam Fertig, Randy Warabo, and Elliot Reed.
Welcome back. Now we'll have 5 minutes for Q&A with Team Ultraviolet Transactions. Bob, would you like to go first?
Yes. So when I looked through this presentation, it seemed like it was very thorough, yet I didn't get to the conclusion. Is there one slide that basically gives you the conclusion?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question, Bob. If we were to show you one slide, I would go ahead and present our solution slide. And in our solution, you can see what the idea of our product is, and we actually are in the process of prototyping it, and we have a patent pending. So again, our technology allows people to feed their payment through the machine. You get it sanitized, and then it comes out on the other side ready to be used. And again, it's clean, contactless, and versatile. It's all inclusive, and we're just really excited to create a more inclusive environment that is safe and sanitary for all guests and employees.
Great,
thank you. Can you remind us of the what you will charge?
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, if you want to take that.
Yeah, sure. So we can take a quick look at our business model. So it'll start out with a flat fee of $399 and
Per
then
device? Per device?
Yes. And then from there we can move to a monthly service. So it'll include a basis of monthly test strips to verify that it is in fact doing the disinfection correctly. And then it'll also include yearly servicing and cleaning. And then there's an optional additional fee to pay for free replacement from accidental damage if that were to happen. So it's kind of similar to, if you were to compare it to something, I would compare it to like Apple Care, where like the warranty kind of covers the basis at the beginning, and then later on, if you do choose to go for Apple Care Plus, it'll like ensure that if you do have some sort of accidental damage within the first 2 years or something, it'll cover that cost.
It's Warren. How are you able to negotiate a fixed price for the processing? I thought I saw somewhere in the proposal or presentation it was $3.
Yeah, good question. I don't recall the $3, but we are able to, work with different businesses according to their needs if the financing is an issue. Just to clarify, can you rephrase your question, please?
So I thought there was a processing charge in addition to
You mean the transactional fee?
transactional fee. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, so our product actually does not incur any, we don't have any transaction fees. So we were talking about how things like the credit card devices, those come with a typically 2.5 to 3% transaction fee. But ours is just a flat rate, and therefore the business wouldn't acquire any additional transaction or processing fees.
And so you were able to negotiate that with a bank?
No. So this would be our own financing plan, but we would be happy to work individually with businesses as needed to create monthly plans if they needed that sort of payment structure.
Okay. And who's your competition in the market for this?
Yeah, so kind of going back to the perception versus reality of cleanliness, we would say that our greatest competitors really are contactless solutions, such as the NFC readers like Apple Pay and Google Pay. But again, they don't really tap into all areas of our value proposition with the sanitization. And we offer that inclusive option for cash and coupons and all the different options. So there's no one that's specifically doing exactly what we're doing, but there are alternative options to address our problem.
Is there an
time for one more question?
Is there an average number of devices that you would see in like per business that you would be selling to?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So we'd like to start off with just one per location and see, what the volume of transactions looks like and how much it gets used. And then that way, if it's successful, then we can transition and grow it with other franchises and things like that if we see the need for additional devices. But we think 1 or 2 would be a great place to start, and then from there continue to grow.
Thank you, Team Ultraviolet Transactions. That was all the time we have for Q&A. Next, we'll watch the video from Team Weet.
Hello. My name is Avi Goyle. Thank you so much for joining us for this presentation hosted as part of the Hospitality Pitch Deck competition. Today I will be talking about the app Weet. Weet is the best way for singles to go on in-person dates and the best way for independent restaurants to grow their consumer base. For the purposes of this presentation, we will be talking about Weet in the context of heterosexual relationships. This being said, Weet supports all relationships, both as a social value and with the service it provides. Love is love. Phase 1 of online dating began in 1995 with the advent of Match.com. Match.com acted as a geographically based directory for single people. Unfortunately, rejection was common and in-person conversion rare. Essentially, Match.com functioned by allowing any single person on the platform to message any other person on that platform within a certain geographic radius. For women, this meant an endless stream of messages, and for men, nearly endless rejection. Following Match.com in 2012 came Phase 2. This is the swipe generation of dating apps. This included apps that are commonplace among young people, like Bumble and Tinder. These apps function by allowing users to message each other, but only after both users have shown superficial interest in the form of a swipe. This dealt with the endless stream of messages that women received on sites like Match.com, while also curbing the frequent rejection that men had been experiencing in the past. This being said, the swipe generation did not solve the biggest problem with online dating apps, converting matches made in the real world into matches made online into connections in the real world. The goal of Weet is to help our users meet more people in person. We do this through a system we call mutual assurance. Users swipe and match with each other as they are now accustomed, but our unique differentiator comes on the messaging screen. Users now have the ability to move up to 3 matches that they would feel comfortable meeting in person into their podium. If 2 users have each other in their respective podiums and indicate to us that they are free on a given night, we cross-reference the dining and entertainment preferences that they indicated when setting up their profiles to match the 2 of them with one of our local partner businesses. In just a few hours, we've converted an online match into a real-world date. Whether sparks fly or the connection fizzles out, 2 users that didn't know each other when the night started are now one step closer to a meaningful relationship. Weet solves both problems common to online dating apps. It's no secret that the key to building a user base on a dating app is women. Where there are women, men will follow. With that in mind, Weet's primary concern has to be safety. In talking with female users of dating apps like Tinder, we found that an overwhelming majority of women are concerned about their safety online. They're apprehensive to meet a stranger from the internet because when he asks to meet somewhere, she has no idea what type of environment she may be walking into. On Weet, women know that they will only ever meet men in neutral public locations that have been chosen by our team. We believe that the safe spaces that we provide will be a big step forward for women's safety online. Once both parties are safe, they can begin to relax and enjoy the spontaneous experience that is a Weet date. We believe that sharing new experiences can help our users foster a connection, and that these curated local experiences appeal greatly to millennials. Eating meals is something that we all do every day. Why not use just one of those meals to meet someone new? Many women we surveyed said that they had tried and given up on Tinder and Bumble. While they were dating to find a long-term relationship, it seemed to them that most of the men on these platforms weren't looking for anything serious. Because of Weet's focus on traditional in-person dates, we believe that we will cultivate a community of men interested in the possibility of a long-term relationship. This will lead to a better overall experience for women. With all of this being said, we believe there has never been a better time to launch Weet. Right now, the generation that came of age using swipe-based dating apps like Tinder and Bumble is starting to outgrow those platforms. This 25 to 35-year-old demographic is beginning to look for more serious relationships, but they're still most comfortable operating in the rejection-free world of swiping apps. Weet can meet their evolving needs. Additionally, COVID-19 actually presents a unique opportunity for us at Weet. We all know that shutdowns have hit the restaurant industry hard. Independent and chain restaurants alike are closing permanently and giving up their leases. We have to anticipate that in the coming years, we will see independent restaurants pick up these newly available cheap leases and launch tons of new, interesting concepts, as they did in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. And what can we offer these new businesses? Well, put simply, new customers, and even more new customers. Weet for Restaurants is based around a simple premise. I walk by a slew of restaurants in College Town every day when I walk to campus. I have a few favorites, but I never think twice about most of them. Now, if you told me that there was a really cool girl that was interested in me and she was waiting for me at a restaurant like Two State to Go, I'd be there in a heartbeat. Now, Two State to Go has the opportunity to win me over with their service, and even if I never see that girl again, Two State to Go could still become one of my favorite College Town go-to spots. Let's compare what we can offer to what exists in the market currently. The biggest online discounter for local experiences is Groupon, but we believe that this is a terrible platform for small businesses. On Groupon, service providers first need to discount their services to appeal to consumers, usually by 20% or more. From there, Groupon takes half of that remaining 80%, leaving the actual service provider with only 40% of their expected sale. To contrast, Weet only takes 30% share of the sale, leaving our partners with a full 70% of the ticket value. Furthermore, Weet promises not only lower costs, but also higher quality customer acquisition opportunities. Groupon users are discount hunters, while Weet users are experience hunters. Groupon users might not come back unless they receive another discount. Weet users will come back when they've received an exceptional service. If Groupon customers do return, they're likely to buy lower price, lower margin items. When Weet customers return, the whole menu is open. Our single 25 to 35-year-old demographic has disposable income, and they would rather spend that income on experiences rather than consumer goods. Groupon and other discount programs can be used again and again by savvy return customers. Weet guarantees our partners that we will never send the same user to them twice. And if we do, we'll forfeit our share of that sale. Weet promises businesses a steady stream of faces to be converted into long-term customers. So where does that 30% leave us on revenue? Let's compare Weet's novel revenue model to that of it doesn't report its ratio of paid to free users, but industry consensus puts the number at around 10%. $17.44 of revenue per paid user multiplied by this 10% gives us a value of $1.74 per user per active month. Weet anticipates that of our active users, 40% will go on a date in any given month, and that we will yield $5.25 per date. Multiply that by 40%, and we're already at $2.10 per active user per month. And that's before we've sold any of our premium features. So who are we? Well, my name is Abi Goyle, and along with my friends Aris and Jacob, we are a committed group of young entrepreneurs with experience in both the restaurant industry and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Aris and I are both upperclassmen here at the hotel school and believe that we can use the lessons that we have learned to cultivate relationships with some of the most unique individual businesses in the hospitality field. Jacob, who is attending Babson College, has been studying entrepreneurship for the last 3 years. The combination of the #1 hospitality program in the world and the #1 entrepreneurship program in the US will help we overcome any challenge that it faces. So how do we get this off the ground? Many of the biggest social platforms, such as Tinder and Bumble, and even Facebook, started on college campuses, and with good reason. College campuses yield incredible network effects, allowing great ideas to spread quickly with very little marketing investment. Unfortunately for us, Weet is not targeted at the typical college student. Our solution is to go to Provo, Utah, the home of a very atypical college. At Brigham Young University in Provo, a school of more than 32,000 undergraduates, more than 50% of the graduating seniors get married during college. This relationship-focused culture will allow us to prove our concept cost-effectively. Furthermore, BYU's proximity and cultural ties to Salt Lake City will allow us to easily leapfrog into our first major metropolitan area. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. We would love to hear any of your questions. And as always, we welcome you all to stop eating and start reading.
Welcome back. We're here with Abi from Team Weet, and our judges are ready for our last session of Q&A here. Go ahead, judges.
Abi, I'm disappointed that this wasn't invented 20 years ago, but we probably didn't have the technology. I was very impressed with your slide presentation, but my one question is, how do you make this ubiquitous as opposed to Match that spends millions of dollars on advertising?
Well, thank you so much for that question. And that's really where we hope to have a grassroots movement in Provo, Utah. This is really going to be the test of our product. So our plan is to go to Provo because of their very unique dating lifestyle almost. Over 50% of the graduating class at BYU every year is married before they leave college. And that's something that you see in BYU's own student-run newspaper. And we think that given the connections that we'll find on a college campus and just the atmosphere at BYU, we can really start a grassroots movement with Weet that will allow us to then jump into our first major metropolitan area in Salt Lake City. From there, the hope is that we'll have consistent positive revenue, and that will allow us to expand Weet further into bigger cities like New York City as well as Boston.
Abby, why the name Weet?
So Weet is actually just a fun little name we came up with. So the entire purpose of Weet is, why not take one of these meals that we have every day and meet someone new with it? And Weet is just an abbreviation for we eat. So that's the logic behind the name. And we thought it'd fit in well with some of our so-called competitors like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Weet fits right in with the 1 to 2 syllable. You know what it is when you hear it.
What are the two biggest differentiators between your site and your competitors?
Gotcha. So that is a great question. Thank you so much for asking it, because we've thought a lot about this. So essentially what it comes down to is we have to ask ourselves, why do apps like Tinder and Bumble work? The industry, the buzzword that the industry uses is the gamification of dating. The swiping aspect of the apps make dating look like a fun game. Unfortunately, we strongly disagree with this. We think that the Tinder and Bumble succeed because they make dating painless. They take all of the pain out of the process. What's the worst thing that can happen on Tinder? You swipe right on a girl and she doesn't swipe right on you, right? You never know that she didn't swipe right on you. Bumble and Tinder take all the rejection out of dating, other than the one last step, asking that girl on a real date if you two were to match. Weet is selling that experience, that same social and psychological safety as Tinder, to the most risk-averse generation there's ever been. Imagine not having to take the first step, not having to take that first chance, getting the date set up for you. You don't have to do any of that work. We do it all for you. And I think that's our biggest differentiator. There is psychological safety in Weet, there's psychological relief in Weet.
And tell me why you looped in the restaurant component into this?
So that goes back to, first of all, restaurants are a revenue driver, and we think that there's no time quite like right now to include restaurants in our app, just because we think the best place for a face-to-face conversation on a first date is a restaurant, because it's something we do every day. It's something we can all relate to. To add to that, Weet plans on taking specifications from its users. So when you sign up for Weet, you'll say, what kind of cuisine would be served at your ideal first date restaurant? So you might see more people who match with you because both of you said that you want an Italian place to be your first date. And then immediately, you don't know anything about this person, but you know that you both like Italian food. That's something you can relate to, and then draw from that connection to enjoy the rest of your day. That's why restaurants is a part of Weet.
That's a perfect place to wrap up the Q&A. Abby, thank you so much, and judges, thank you as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we will move on to our next phase. I actually like to thank all the teams, and I'll give you a little clap right here to all the teams for doing a great job today. Now our judges will take a few moments to deliberate, and we will return shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back very soon with the results.
EGC is going to be a little different this year.
With the global pandemic disrupting our industry, it is now more important than ever to find new ways to connect during these uncertain times.
We are reimagining HEC 96 like never before.
So what have we been up to?
I am excited to share that the culinary teams have been hard at work to recreate classic HEC food and beverage experiences with a twist.
We are bringing the experience to you at home.
Through our meal kit experience, you'll be able to mingle with other guests while creating an HEC 96 dinner finely curated by our culinary team.
At its core, hospitality is about the spirit of people and the service to others.
This year, HEC celebrates the human connection within hospitality and the power of unity to overcome difficulty. We're excited to share with you the theme for HEC 96. Together, inspiring collaboration to build and progress.
Because no matter how far apart,
No matter where we are,
we are still together.
We are ready to announce the winners of the 5th annual Hospitality Pitch Deck competition. But before we do, as chair of the faculty, as faculty chair of this competition, I'd like to recognize a few people first. First, I'd like to thank Linda Canina and Dave Sherwin for their leadership of the Pillsbury Institute. Of course, if we were meeting live, we'd clap here, so I'll do that for you. Thank you. It's been wonderful to work with you both. Second, I'd like to thank two folks that you probably haven't seen tonight, Michelle Chachki and Liz Cunningham, for their work behind the scenes to make this happen. Really, they are the glue that holds us all together and makes everything run smoothly. So thank you both, Liz and Michelle. Third, the folks at Cornell. This is our first virtual hospitality pitch deck competition. So there's a couple guys named Dom and Pete back here behind the scenes that have done a great job. So thank you, gentlemen. And finally, thanks to our judges, Monica and Warren and Bob. A wonderful job tonight. Again, always a pleasure to work with each of you. Your commitment to reviewing these materials and providing thoughtful feedback and being here tonight is really what makes this competition possible. So thank you for your continued support of the Pillsbury Institute and entrepreneurship in the hotel school. And of course, thanks to all the teams that have participated, but there's 4 here tonight, 4 left, and we've got some results to announce. I'll announce 3rd place, 2nd place, and then the winner. Those are the 3 cash prizes for tonight's competition. The 3rd place team, who will be recognized with $500, is Life After Life. It doesn't seem the same when we're not together, does it? We can clap. Yes. Well, yeah. There we go. There we go. All right, next, the 2nd place team, who will be awarded $1,500, is Team Ultraviolet Transactions.
Yay.
And the winner of the 5th annual Pillsbury Institute Hospitality Pitch Deck competition and $3,000 is Team Weet.
Yay.
Congratulations to all of the teams, everyone that's participated. I've been working in this competition since we started it 5 years ago. It's nice to see that the quality gets better every year, and really, this is just great work that you've all put together. I know you've put a lot of work into this. It's really a pleasure to get to see the progress that you've made, even from your reading decks until tonight. It's really, really remarkable. I've got one announcement before we conclude the program, and that's, as many as you know, the Pillsbury Institute hosts a hospitality business plan competition every spring. This is an annual event that's held, the finals are held during Hotel Ezra Cornell, or HEC, when students submit their final business plans. It's a really wonderful competition, and the financial incentive and rewards are even greater than this. I'll remind everyone that the registration for the competition closes on November 19th. More information about the competition can be found on the Pillsbury Institute website. I hope that all the teams that participated in the hospitality pitch deck competition will consider taking their ideas forward. We hope to see you all there, and I hope to see you at the business plan competition, of course, in the spring. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. This concludes our event tonight. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.